And a fine good morning to you both. Welcome to the Nudelberg Daily Huddle. It is Thursday morning, heading toward the weekend to a fabulous Friday. Good stuff.
It's actually the final huddle for the week because we will be at the Broward Workshop Breakfast tomorrow.
That is correct, man. We are heading west to Signature Grand. There'll be, 1,000 people there probably.
I don't know that there'll be that many, but there will be probably a decent amount of people.
So yesterday was an awesome day. Saw a lot of you. Don't normally see that much of you, and I'm not bored.
Yeah, it was. We had a great Wednesday marketing meeting, which was awesome. And then
show me the boys. There we are. And then last night, Mark, I'll let you share who.
Yeah, well, shout out to Phil Boatman. And if it wasn't just the full scenario, our entire philosophy and teachings and practice all coming together in one setting. Phil Boatman, we've known for forever. You've known him forever. He's done great things for us. He's a great friend and just a great business partner. He constantly, I said it this morning, bringing like-minded people to the party. He's always introducing us to people that are of similar thoughts and values. Well, I had actually reached out to Chelsea originally because one of her people had come to me through LinkedIn with a blank invite. So her and I connected and had a virtual coffee. Phil did not know that at the time. Then I mentioned her on the huddle one time, and he was like, oh my God, I know Chelsea. Chelsea's great. We're going to be in Fort Lauderdale on the 22nd. Can we meet? Then we got everybody together, and we had a wild card that ended up joining us, which was also Par. And it all stems back to the original person of Chris Pollock, which my book ended up on Chelsea's desk because of Chris. So unbelievable connectivity and just a great time last night. On the title of the invite, I called it Drinks and Stories. And that's really what it was. It was, we all had a couple of drinks and everybody got the opportunity to share their story about where they come from. Well, not really everybody. Par obviously did not get the opportunity to share, but it was a great time. And so
it certainly was. And it's actually the main reason why I love what we do is, this conversation that went on last night, and Lori hit it on the head. I didn't. There we go. Yes, I did stay awake, man. It was late. I didn't get done. I looked down at my watch and it was like a little bit before 11. And I was like, where did the time go? It just was neat the way the conversation kept spinning around the table. So, really, really good stuff. I can only tell you that this is how you build and scale a business is through the people you already know and the people who drank the Kool-Aid. So that's the reason for that. Thank you, Phil, for your friendship, for all that you do. Man, it was super fun. So moving on, just to let you know that, LinkedIn still does have its downsides. Ricky V reached out to me yesterday. Ricky noticed that I have a remarkable job history. And we might be seeking my next opportunity. So thank you, Ricky V, for looking out for me and my everything I do.
There was one that came into me yesterday. It was from a different Chelsea, a Chelsea McClure, who said, my financial services firm is expanding and I'm looking for the right person to help us grow. I was scrolling through your profile and you look like a possible good fit. People such as yourself with determination, a competitive spirit, entrepreneurial mindset tend to do very well. Just curious, do you keep your options open when it comes to new opportunities? Like a whole paragraph, like what is happening in the inbox and in the invites? Like, and wouldn't you really want to get to know me before you offered me the opportunity, like to work with you? I'm confused by it.
It is so, there are no shortcuts. Let's leave it that way. So lots of good stuff. Today's topic is comes right from the heart. You guys will see what I mean. So Shay, let's wake this thing up and get right to the content. Wake up and father. Get up, get up, get up, get up. Wake up. Come on. just want to show you how the brain works. So we have a client based in Atlanta. Her name is Chesley, and it took me all of 6 months to get it right. And now Chelsea is in our life. I'm like, I'm just, come on, man. So anyway, some good stuff. So in my never-ending quest for content and things to get me better, there's a gentleman named Lewis Howes. I've met Lewis Howes. Lewis is an ex-football player that blew out his knee, and his story is pretty cool as to what he's achieved. He's all about the mind. He's all about the heart. This was an amazing take on what we're going to talk about today. So show me Lewis Howes.
And I said, what's the number one skill you feel like human beings should learn to master? And his answer was beautiful. He said emotional regulation. I was like, I 100% agree. Because if we don't have the power to regulate our feelings around a situation, an environment, something that happens in events, then that event has power over us as opposed to us over that moment. And if it has power over us to where we react so strongly, we need to ask ourselves, why am I so triggered? Where is that wound? That's a wound somewhere. Where is that wound? And how can I start the healing journey? I'm not saying that things are going to happen in life and you're never going to feel something, but just not react and be overwhelmed emotionally to where it takes you away from love and takes you away from your mission.
I love that conversation.
So what I did was I pulled out some words that he used in less than a minute, and I want to hit you with the word, right? And then I want your reaction to the word.
Okay.
Feelings.
Nobody cares about your feelings. It's funny. I was just going through my coaching notes, and we had a speaker come in when I was at the University of Florida, and his point about feelings was things don't happen to you because of how you feel. Things happen to you because of what you do. And so stop caring so much about the way that you feel and start focusing more on what you do. And so feelings are a good thing. Feelings are natural. Feelings are a thing that happen. But as Lewis was talking about, if you don't understand how to manage your feelings, you then get hijacked by your feelings.
Beautiful.
And feelings then stop you from doing the things that you know you need to do, or cause you to do things that you shouldn't do. And that's how you get derailed.
We could take the whole show here because I got a great list of words that he used. The next word I want you to unpack for us is trigger.
Yeah, so that is that is a word that to me is it's impactful, right? And I look at it in a lot of different places in my life, but understanding what triggers you and understanding what the triggers are around you, because you could use it in really two terms. He's using it in the emotional sense, which is always a negative. Every coach, every leader I've ever been around that was easily triggered was an asshole and didn't understand how to understand good communication skills. But there are paying attention to triggers, which when you talk about our LinkedIn training, I am triggered all day, every day with ways to reach out and connect with people, which are a good thing. So understanding the difference between emotional triggers and paying attention to triggers in your life that allow you to connect with people, words in a conversation, a post on somebody's feed, there are triggers all around us that allow us to be successful.
So, first of all, brilliant. I'm so glad that you went there to the negative, positive thing. I see Melissa's on it as well. You know, if you manage triggers properly, you understand the negative ones and you can unpack them and say, why the fuck does this bother me? I don't know. You know, that generally speaking, it's something about somebody else that's in you that is triggering you to say, ooh, I don't like seeing that. So,
if you really want to do the deep work, it really comes from your childhood, most likely.
Yeah.
There's something that happened to you in your developmental stages that created a wound. And that's what Lewis is talking about is if something triggered you, that's just, and this isn't problem solving in general. You got to get to the root of it, because that's that trigger. That response is just the symptom of whatever that actual root problem was. And you got to do work to go figure out what caused that.
I love this. So we're very linear. The next word is reaction.
Yes, you got to, I would say one of the most important skills you can have in business and in life is the ability to control your reaction. Because as soon as you lose that, you lose credibility, you lose leverage, you lose relationship, you lose so much. And like, I watched one of my favorite coaches, Brian Polian. I loved working with him on his staff. And in every single game, as soon as a flag would come out, he would absolutely lose control of his reaction of what was happening. It would derail him, and everybody on the team would watch him do that and go, oh, here we go again. And oh, no, now we're not focused. Now we're not doing it. And so his reaction had a ripple effect through the team that I don't think he really understood at that time in his career, but it was a struggle for a lot of people around him to function when he was like that.
I get it. And so the one thing I want to bridge from this conversation is one of the things we recommend, and I wrote about it in my book, which is funny from last night. I thought she was talking about my book. She was talking about your book, Anyway.
Chelsea's story about the book on her desk. He immediately assumed it was his book, and she was like, no, his book.
It's yours. Music is a trigger.
Yeah.
Trigger you to feel something. So it all comes down to emotion, comes down to managing your emotional output, your emotional energy, what he called emotional regulation, which I love that term. And so I got great motivational music today. Shay, give me Mariah Carey.
Ooh.
So thank you, Matt. I am singing. Everybody's singing, which is a trigger. It triggers your emotional state. Thankful Jonathan Ahrens is correct that this was old Mariah. Mariah was great at one point. She is obviously
she gets her flowers for being absolutely phenomenal during her prime, and she was cranking
that voice, that
and her music, just the song.
Just
you go back to the actual song.
We're talking the whole show about emotion, emotional regulation, all like that. I want to throw a word at you. It's a concept. I think Jonathan Ahrens is all over this, but do you know what Stoicism is?
Of course. The Daily Stoic is a great read, and I believe it was Marcus Aurelius who gets credited.
Marcus Aurelius. Yes, sir.
Yeah. And it's a great book. I mean, it's a philosophy. It's his thoughts being put into practice on how he managed himself as a human being as he was in leadership and going through the Roman Empire and the growth and the fall of it and all of that. But so this idea of emotional regulation I've talked a lot about it just now negatively. It was a big conversation about the positive emotion regulation, because when you have success, when you're winning, or when you're walking into a big opportunity, like walking into the SEC championship, walking into the Orange Bowl, going against the number one team in the country, your emotions, your anxiety, your excitement are at an absolute peak. And if you allow that to hijack you before the performance, you burn yourself out before the opportunity ever even actually gets to you. So going on stage, stepping in front of a presentation, you got to understand that your emotions, if you allow them to take you where they want to go, they are 1000% detrimental. Very rarely does riding your emotions lead to a great outcome.
Every time that leads to exhaustion and disappointment and frustration. And so the core idea of Stoicism, for those who are not familiar with it, is that in order to have a happy life, all we have to do is be ethical. Virtue, as in moral goodness, is the highest value, and we can attain that through four things. Four attitudes and three areas of practice. Four attitudes: courage, temperance, justice, and wisdom. And three areas of practice: perception, action, and will. Now, if you were only going to train somebody just on this, forget about any upskilling on tactical stuff.
Right.
Strategically, anybody who wants to win the game of life, I think this is the shit that wins.
This is mindset. This is, for me, my language is championship mindset. Like, I'm going to talk a little bit about it on Friday at Kitty's event, but to me, that is what, and LeBron said it yesterday in the video that we played for everybody. The greats train the body, the greatest train the mind. And this is what training the mind is about. It's not just about building an optimistic outlook. It's not just about understanding how to think the right ways or put the right inputs in. It's also about understanding how to control the emotion, understanding how to not let your thoughts get hijacked by all the things around you, which, when he talks about, temperance, it's huge. Not too high, not too low. How do I ensure that I put the gauge on myself so that I don't allow myself to get off the rails?
So I just did the homework on this, which was great. And there's a zillion philosophers, including Marcus Aurelius, who have quotes that are centuries and centuries old. And I'm always a fan of words to live by. So a couple of these blow my mind. Number one, and this is Marcus Aurelius: you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength.
And to me, that speaks to understanding the ability to not react to everything that happens to you, and go deeper. When something happens and you feel something or you think something, be willing to question this. I talked about this on a virtual coffee yesterday. Somebody asked me a question of like, why do you think it's harder to change as we get older? And I said to her, well, I think it's because we become more reliant on what we know the older we get.
Well said. Really well said.
And so when you stop questioning why you know things, you stop asking why you feel things. When you're a kid, you're like, why? I want to know why. I want to know more. The older we get in this mindset of, no, that's what it is. And we believe that what we think is fact without continuing to question it still.
I think that's the biggest challenge for high achievers, is to forget what they already knew that made them successful, to break through to the next side. So here's another beauty. By Seneca, which is, Joy, I know you said you're going to do the homework. Look up Seneca. We suffer more often in imagination than in reality. So it's always worse in our mind. That's fear, false evidence appearing real. This is the reality of the how the mind operates. It protects you and puts you in a place where it thinks it's making you safe, but safe is really not. I don't want to live a safe life. Do you?
Well, that's the difference is that, but that's what we know what's comfortable. Like, to me, why do people just take what's there? We had this conversation with somebody sitting outside of YOLO last night. They were like, I'm a lawyer, but I hate it. And I was like, well, then why are you a lawyer?
Right. And
they were like, because that's what I forget exactly how she responded. She was like, it's the only thing I can do. And I was like, no, it's not. It's like, it's actually the complete opposite. You could do anything else. Right?
Well, you know what? Legal training is great for any business. You know, you can take
that to me is like you because of what you've done, because of the work you've put in and the beliefs you've built, you then build the walls around yourself to say, well, I'm stuck here. This is what I have to do. And until you really peek out over that wall, you find a way to realize that those walls aren't real. And this is like, you know, Gary Vee is just like, you know, you're a baby, 40, it doesn't matter. There is some truth to that. That you could pivot, you could change, you could do anything at any time if you're willing to, you know, think about it and understand that there's discomfort that comes along with it.
I'll leave you one more from the man himself, Marcus Aurelius. And if you remember correctly, I used to call you that as a nickname.
Yes.
You know? So if you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. And this you have the power to revoke at any moment.
It's so funny. I mean, what he's saying right there is a very philosophical way that Lewis was saying in the video, is that whatever that reaction was, it's not actually from that thing that was external. It was from that thing internal. It's something inside of you that's creating that, and you're either giving it power or taking it away.
So to close, and I want to reiterate to everybody that is here listening to this conversation, the conversation continues. In your day, if you take this stuff, put it in your social media, talk about it in your virtual coffees, you know, everything that you do, if you're willing to take subject matter outside of what you do for a living and really get to know somebody based on how they think and who they are, not what they do, that is the magic that we have the ability to perform every day. Yet everybody goes comfortable to, hey, can I talk to you about what I have to sell? It's not the way of the future. The way of the future is to connect based on commonalities and thought processes. And so you can easily ask anybody today, what do you know about Stoicism? Most people will say, I don't know what it is. Hey, you know what? Let me take a minute. I have the definition. Just rewatch this. And you could be talking like we did for 30 minutes about emotional regulation. How do you handle it? Man, when they get to know you, that's what they're buying, not your product or service. So
I love it.
I'm super fired up, as you might be able to tell. Excited about a great day ahead. Excited because I was filled up last night hanging out with Mr. Phil. He filled us up. Thank you for all you do. Tomorrow is not a live huddle.
Not a live huddle.
So, you know, Shay will pick one of the best of and fill your bucket with that. And then we're back live Monday morning with Miss Laurie Salarillo, just hitting it out of the park.
Have a great rest of your week. Have a great weekend. The grind includes Saturday and Sunday.
Last thing, my friend, there are a lot of shares. Yesterday, I saw a lot of people taking this and sharing it with their audience. Click, share it. Let someone else see it.
There's no cost, but there is a fee. If you had a good idea, if something good happened to you from this huddle, please find a way to share it. Like it, comment, send it to somebody. Let's get down to business, and we'll see you on Monday for another Nudelberg Daily Huddle.
Please don't worry about me. I'm about to let my heart speak. My friends keep telling me to leave this. So let's get down to business. Let's get down to business.